Ever wonder what people mean when they use the word gospel in churches? Some use it as a description for music, gospel music, or when they really want to emphasize the truth. This is the gospel truth. But sometimes someone will stand up front and will read from a gospel, the gospel of Matthew or Mark or Luke or John. And yet, at other times, people talk about the gospel as it's something else. Have you wondered what that is? Well, in the Roman world, the term was used for good news. It's actually the literal translation, good news. And anytime a new Roman emperor was born or someone was born to Caesar's household, the good news would be announced. That gospel would be announced in all the cities throughout the Roman Empire that a new Lord has been born. Well, Christians picked up on this early because they used the term gospel as good news because of something that has happened. And in particular, Christians speak about the gospel, not just the birth of Jesus, but his death and his resurrection and his ascension into heaven. That all of these things has happened in history, in particular, his death and his resurrection, that his arrival as Messiah had been foretold for generations in prophecies, and Jesus came, fulfilled those prophecies, died a surprising death, and rose again in a much more surprising way. And so from there, the early disciples spoke about that news incident wherever they went. Now, why does this matter? Because the gospel is the report that something has happened in history that changes everything. It's not a philosophy, it's not an ideology, it's not like a theology, or it's not like an opinion piece, right? And we get all of those sorts of things in our news broadcasts all the time. It's a specific announcement of an event that has happened. The Apostle Paul, describing the gospel to one of the churches that he planted in the Roman world, said this, speaking about faith and love and hope that has come to them. He says that you have already heard in the true message of the gospel that has come to you. In the same way, the gospel is bearing fruit and growing throughout the whole world, just as it has been doing among you since the day you heard it and truly understood God's grace. Paul talks about the gospel as if it's something organic, something that's growing. He didn't say the Bible that has come to you. He didn't say the church that has come to you. The thing that is growing is the gospel. And what that means for us as a church is that we now steward the gospel that has come to us. For us, we bear a responsibility to communicate the announcement of the resurrection of Jesus to the next generation coming up inside the faith and the next generation coming into the faith from the outside. That is what we announce. That is the good news that we communicate. We don't invent the gospel. It's something we receive. And therefore, we don't say whether we like it or not. The real question for us is, who do we think of Jesus? Because if Jesus is who he says he is, then this gospel is true. And then what does that mean? Well, it means, according to the gospel, that the renewal of all things has begun. And therefore, we announce this good news in every aspect of our lives, that now we can build community in a world of isolation. We can strengthen faith in a world that is getting more and more hopeless. In a world of division and canceling culture, we extend compassion to those on the margins and to those we disagree with. Why? Because something has happened in history that changes everything. And that is what we mean when we use the word gospel.